Damp, stale air fills the area in the thickest parts of this wood. Rarely do rays tiptoe on its barren floor, tucked away where vines weave tightly and trees huddle together, blocking the sun. Mischief hides. The floor crunches with each step from brittle leaves and sticks. There is a breathless silence for yards at each pause. Deep inside, Leaf watches Tukanum with intensity. "What are you doing?" she questions. "I need answers," Tukanum responds with intense contemplation, directing at Nedinjar. Long hours she had spent observing how the Nedinjar's body moves. Its muscles shift. Every minuscule detail of its conveying thoughts upon its features she catalogues. "Farfadir will come. He knows," Leaf reminds Tukanum. Tukanum shrugs and stares at the squirming creature as if dissecting him. "That is fine. I'll deal with him," she insists. "What's your name?" she inquires of the Nedinjar, snapping her fingers and releasing the seal on its mouth. The creature hisses and screeches. "Fine," she mutters, annoyed, and wipes her hand across its face, mumbling malediction, sealing its mouth once more. "Aha!" sounds a familiar male voice from the entryway. "What is this? Some kinky bondage girl thing I wasn't invited to?" Leo smacks her lips. "Of course." "I knew it," Groan tells Leo, eyeballing her close. Then he turns to Drucana, pointing his finger at her, scolding. "And you! Are you being mischievous?" He purses his lips. "Without me? My heart is crushed. No! Ripped out of my chest! Not on!" His countenance is one of triumph. "This is serious, Groan," Drucana remarks, barely glancing at him. "No, you're serious," he retorts, extending his index finger and pinkies while shaking his fists together, making a goofy face. Leo, watching, folds her arms, unimpressed. He gives Leo a disapproving sideways glance, while walking over to the restrained Nedinjar. "I thought you were the fun one," he tells Leo. Without waiting for a response, he bends to examine the nightcrawler. "You look dehydrated. Do they exfoliate?" Drucana smiles. Leo giggles. "Ha ha!" he spouts. "You are listening to me. No one ignores me." He turns back, regarding the nightcrawler, then starts humming and pacing nonchalantly about the room. "What are you up to?" Drucana abruptly snaps her head in his direction. "Oh, me?" Groan smiles roguishly. "Nothing. Why, nothing at all." His humming becomes a low song. "Groan," she says, eyeing him sternly. "Honestly," he sings. "And there you go, all serious." "Do you know what that word means?" Leo asks him. "What word?" he says in a sing-song tone between his songs. "Honestly," Leo replies, observing him skeptically. Groan gasps, pretending to be shocked while humming. "Stop it," Drucana demands. "Whatever you're doing, learn to be still. Quiet for once." He crinkles his face in a weird smile, while keeping his hum. The creature starts to wiggle frantically in its seat. Drucana notices that the vines crawling under his armor. "Groan!" Drucana mutters, turning her face to him, with her eyebrows drawn between and her mouth tucked in. Groan exaggerates his surprise. His shoulders round as his eyes and mouth go up long, and his eyebrows disappear under his curls. However consistent, delight reigns in his eyes. "I just wanted to know something. You're not the only one who's curious around here." "Know what?" Drucana asks. He waves his hand, humming louder, making the Nedinjar scream more violently. He laughs as the Nedinjar starts to sound like it's laughing too. "Is it?" Leo questions, round-faced. "It is laughing," Drucana explains, with an open expression about her. "It is ticklish," Groan announces, standing erect as if he made a great discovery. Now we know. You're welcome, he regards Jacunum. It beats just staring at the tomato thing. I'm studying it, Jacunum descends with her hands on her hips. What? Can you read its mind? Groan asks. I sure hope you can't read minds. Well, he pauses, grabbing his chin. Maybe then you'd laugh more. Or cry, Leo replies, snickering. Groan turns to Leo. What is it with you today? You are always so nice. This is serious business. You, Groan, have a reputation of being trouble. As a kid, you were vexatious Vian. As an adult, you are known as Golden Gallus Groan. I'm here looking out for Jacunum's best interest, and you are not one of them, she declares. Then regarding Jacunum, besides, she's my best friend, not just responsibility. My duty, keeping her safe. Great golden groan, Groan explains, proud. Stop, Jacunum shouts abruptly. Groan and Leo both regard the netting jar, who is hyperventilating, with slumped eyes. Its pale skin is pinkened. Oh, Groan says sheepishly, and clears his throat, having his vine stop immediately. Directing his attention back to Jacunum, he goes on calmly, still sporting a grin. Well, about this serious business, did you learn anything useful? You have been staring at the helpless thing long enough. Is it telepathic? Why are they cutting out tongues? Dole, Gallus groaned, obviously to stop us from singing and making plants grow, Jacunum satirically announces. Groan turns to Leaf. See what I had to go through my whole life? Leaf pats him on the shoulder. You'll be fine. He rolls around Jacunum's demeanor, keenly becoming aware. You know something. Don't hide it. I know you. Yes, Jacunum confesses, taking his interest seriously. Do tell. Groan expresses, excited with his hands rubbing together. She walks behind the netting jar, but the creature's head and eyes follow her. Groan, she adds, can you keep his head still for me, please? He smiles coyly. Me? You need me. Yes, my sister cousin. For you. I gladly will. Leo's forehead furls as she tracks Jacunum, wondering. The vines rise to Groan's voice, over and round the netting jar's head, holding him still as he fights furiously in silence. Poised behind it, with her eyes intensely over his form, she takes on a deep breath and chants below her breath. Groan and Leo gather close together, attentively monitoring. As Jacunum chants, her limbs elongate and her face sinks in. Her skin yellows and thins. What the? Groan grasps, watching as her face slowly shifts, resembling the creature's. Leo puts her hands over her cheeks, her mouth open, and turns to Groan. Amazing! Gah! Jacunum stops, downcast. I can only do it for a few seconds. It's pointless. I need more time, and that I don't have. Groan just shakes his head, agreeing, open mouth. His eyes are conniving. Oh, the things I'd do if I could do that. Oh, I bet, Leo replies. You would have everyone bonkers. I could see it now. Groan laughs. Oh, that is sweet. You know me. His face slowly loses its Joker facade, while peering on Leo. And by the way, he says in a more moderated tone, thank you. For what? Leo inquires, taken aback. I bet she could take on a dragon. But you were there when it counted. Sorry, it took me so long to say it. Groan's mien is composed. Oh. Leo lowers her head moose-like in a meek voice. There was nothing she hasn't done for me time and time again already. Her expression alters, becoming more compassionate. I know that sort of thing is hard for you. It is fine. You're one of us. I know that. I hope that we can be friends. Groan says genuinely. Sure, she responds. Everyone needs someone to watch the back. We're all bound by the same force, the same rules. I just hope you're not plotting on what I think you are, Groan remarks, shifting his eyes and tone towards Tricunum. But if you are, he avers, gleeful-eyed, I want part of it. Oh, nuh-uh, Leof explains. That's too dangerous. Farfadir is doing the negotiations with the Nettingars. He won't fail us. You need do nothing of the sort. He hasn't yet, Tricunum affirms gravely, scrutinizing the Nettingar, now still trying to twist to see her ploy. He will succeed, Leof assures Tricunum. They want the dragon. I thought it was possible, but now that they know that we are keeping it, well, Tricunum pauses, shaking her head. I don't think so. What do you think, Groan? Leof asks, dissatisfied with Tricunum's conclusion. Groan stands profound. His eyes oscillate between them. It's far. If anyone can, he can. But the possibility is unlikely. I don't even know how anyone can understand those things. In the woods, I only caught a few familiar words. The rest was gibberish. Still, I have to be hopeful. He turns to the creature. Do you eat Höfjarians? Do you know that we are related? It won't answer your question, Tricunum informs him. Groan starts humming, and the vine starts moving along the elf creature again. We can try it your way, Tricunum says, strolling around to observe the twisted elf, but suddenly she has a strange urge to grab her staff. Perhaps a sixth sense, or a certain affinity with the staff. She is unsure, but there is a disturbance. What is it? Leof inquires, immediately aware of Tricunum's altered state. I don't know, she mumbles absently. She grips the wood firmly. Shukalig, she mouths. Her conscious mind slips swiftly into a weird realm where nothing seems real. It's all a mesh of woven energy, too intense to take in at once. She is drawn in by beckoning. There is negative energy of what she perceives is panic and aggression. The closer she gets, the more she is aware that the panic is Höfjarians, as she senses aggression in the Nettingars. The location is a few miles from her sanctum. She perceives others, too, in the Shukalig. Her real concern, however, is the Nettingar bound. It is vague if the Höfjarians are to be killed or maimed. Regardless, Tricunum knows that she has to help them. Here, in this place, where nothing seems real, seems solid, or even separate. How, she wonders, her mind races wildly. Groan! She calls out, shifting back into her normal self. Groan and Leof are staring at her, perplexed. What the Havarti? Did that stick hypnotize you? Groan probes. I need your help, Tricunum professes gravely, grabbing his hand. She places his willing hand to the staff. Then she addresses Leof. Head east, 8 miles. That should be the spot. And get help. Quick, hurry. Wide-eyed, Leof nods, eager to follow, trusting her friend, though confused. She desires to apprehend what urgency is about. She snatches her recurved backpack and long namaki. Then she sprints out of the sanctum in search of help. Tricunum turns to Groan, with her mind bent on the vulnerable lives. Precipitously, she neglects explanations. Use the roots and get them out of there. What? He exclaims with his eyebrows contracted and his crinkled nose. She pays no heed. Repeat after me. Shukalig. Bemused, he repeats the word Shukalig with his astonishment. He shifts in with her into the silence. He loses a sense of self and gains a sense of all the forest and its inhabitants, a place of oneness. His mind is racing with questions. She is aware, but there is no way to verbalize. She is cognizant of him wondering before he shifts his attention to the distressful elf. She perceives his efforts along with the trees, their roots, and other hostile energies of the Nedenjar around. She is cognizant of Leof and Bodhi moving into the area as well. She is ignorant of the elves, their desperation, and one seeming to hyperventilate. She focuses on that one in particular, thinking on the elf and the word calm. She senses the pressure, pounding, short, rapid breaths. The more she tunes into it, the more it feels as if it's her own experience. She considers air bubbles and the words to create, but with no words, she cannot manifest them. She senses a sensation of the roots of the trees gripping her slowly, pulling her, the elf, through the earth, towards the surface, as if she were there. Though she is cognizant it is the distressed elf. However, gradually it becomes difficult to discern who and where she is. Him, too, she can perceive then Forfadir advancing. The pockets in the earth do form, but the elves are still fading, suffocating, causing her to want to gasp for air. Air is reaching her sluggish face, or is it the elf's face? She feels herself on the ground lying flat. She shifts, reaching for Forfadir. He is miles away, and Leof is nearby, with a dozen yo. She is conscious of her faint heartbeat, a helplessness. She shoves it aside, identifying Thehak in the Shukaleague. She distinguishes Nedenjar's high emotions and keen to something amiss. She apprehends the elves emerging as roots part of the ground and rocks. Like a burst, the feeble elves are spat out of the forest floor, dirty, confused, and disoriented. Disoriented, Draconum is aware that she must leave. Being conversant with so much at once is becoming enticing and fearsome as she feels lost. Her identity, that is. She attempts to retrace her mental steps of bears and elm trees. Recalling her location now seems blurred. Everything is in of itself. Instantly she becomes out of the Shukaleague with a gasp of relief. She glances around her, seeing Groan still free-floating. She frets. "Groan!" she yells loudly at his vacant face and urgently shakes him. "Get out! Come home, Damata!" His empty shell slumps, still holding the staff, but she dares not remove his hands, not knowing the consequences. She holds him in her arms. "Groan! Vian! Damata! Come home!" Tears form in her eyes. Then Groan lets go of the staff. He pops up. "Flock of leaves! By my ancestors, I want one!" He sees her face shift from fright to excitement, then concern. "What is with the glum?" Her face pinches in annoyance. "You can lose yourself in there, you know." "Really?" His face is bewildered a moment. Then he rolls his eyes up as if remembering. "Now that you say that, I guess I can see the possibility. But why didn't you tell me?" He holds his hand down to Draconum, who is slumped on the ground. "I want to do it again." "Yeah, well," she alleges, standing with his aid. "I didn't have time." She thrusts her head around the room frantically again. "We need to go. Hurry!" Draconum snatches her staff, her satchel, and sprints out the door.
Hello, my name is Deanne Treasure Kellogg. I'm an artist, writer, illustrator, and I just read the chapter Meddling Pair. I hope you enjoyed it. I am not telling you which book it is from, but it is from the White Wizard of Höfjar series. Book 1, 2, or 3. Maybe you read it. Maybe you know. I hope you are enjoying the show. Alright, so like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Until next time.